All right, so here are our solutions for this semester one review, numbers 31 through 40. So let's get started on number 31. So right here it says, Mr. Discreet told his students if everyone in the class did at least 35 of the 40 homeworks for the second 9 weeks, he would add 4% to their final test. If he determines their score by doubling the number of correct problems out of 50 and then adding the bonus, which inequality would determine the fewest problems a student could answer correctly and still have an A, which is a 90%. Well, first of all, looking at these multiple choice problems, we see that on the left side of the inequality, everything is exactly the same. It has 2p plus 4. And so all we basically need to do here is see which inequality means that they could have an A. So it's telling us here that a 90% is an A. So looking at this first one here, letter A, it says greater than 90. Well, that would tell us that 90% would not be good enough. It would mean that you would have to get higher than a 90. So that's not correct because a 90% is an A, so it's okay for them to get a 90%. So A is not correct. Let's look at B. This one says less than 90. Well, no, if you earn less than a 90, you are not getting an A. And looking at C, it says greater than or equal to 90. So this one is including that 90 for an A, and it's saying greater than. So C would be our answer. And of course, the last option there says less than or equal to 90, and that would mean you would have 90 or less. Which is not what we were looking for there. So 31, our answer is C. All right, looking at 32, it says tell the domain and the range. Remember, domain are your x values, range are your y values. So right here, our domain, I'm going to list the x's, and I prefer to do those in order, so that would be 0, 2, 4, and 5. All right, now the range would be the y's, and that would be 2. Notice that 3 repeats itself, but you don't repeat it whenever you're writing it down for the range, and then 6. So, and we are putting those numbers in braces. All right, number 33. The set of ordered pairs shown below defines a relation. What is the value of the greatest element in the range of this relation? So remember, range is the y, and they want to know what is the value of the greatest element. That just means what's the biggest number out of all the y's. So if we look here, the y's are 0, 5, 8, 9, 8, 5, and 0. What is the greatest? What is the largest number there? 9. All right, number 34. This one is very important. It wants to know which one of these are a function. And to determine if a graph is a function, we do the vertical line test. So right here, I'm going to draw a vertical line anywhere on the graph, and I see that it touches 2 points. If it touches more than 1, it is not a function. So not a function. And if it's not a function, that means it's just a relation. So not a function. All right, right here, vertical line test. Notice it touches 2 points. So once again, this is not a function. I'm just going to write no for not a function. All right, another vertical line test here. And notice here it's touching 2 points. So not a function. Now right here we've got a parabola, and I do a vertical line test. Notice it's only touching 1 point. So this is a function. This one is yes, it is a function. All right, letter D. Draw a vertical line. It only touches 1 point. So this is a function. And the last one, vertical line. And that one is a function. So A, C, and E are not functions. They are just a relation. B, D, and F, those are functions. But remember, all of these are relations. It's just that the ones on the right are functions and the ones on the left are not functions. And the reason why they are not functions is because it did not pass the vertical line test. Okay, so for 35, it says for the function f of x equals 3 minus 1.2x and the restricted domain -2, 2, 6, and 8, what is the range? So remember, ranges are y values. So, and also remember, f of x means the same thing as y. So I could rewrite this equation as y equals 3 minus 1.2x. And remember, domain are your x values. So I'm going to take -2, 2, 6, and 8 and plug those into my x and see what I get for the y. So this first one here, I've got y equals 3 minus 1.2, and the first one that I'm going to plug in here is -2. Remember, do your multiplication first. So 3 times, and that's a -1.2 times -2. Well, a negative times a negative is going to be a positive. So that gives us plus 2.4. And then we add those together, and that gives us 5.4. So in the first one would be 5.4. Okay, now let's plug in the next one. We've got 3 minus 1.2 times 2. So that's going to give us 3 minus 2.4, and that gives us 0.6. The next one is going to be 3 minus 1.2 times 6, and that gives us 3 minus 7.2. 3 minus 7.2 would give us a -4.2. So that's our next one, -4.2. And then the last one, 3 minus 1.2 times 8. And that's going to be 3 minus 9.6. And 3 minus 9.6 is a -6.6. So right there, 5.4, 0.6, -4.2, and -6.6. Those are our range values for that given domain. Number 36, is the relation a function? So right here we've got a map, and we're trying to figure out, is it a function? So we know that if the x's repeat, it's not a function. So let's look at what we know. That this side are the x values. These are our y's. So that means our order pairs here are -2, -1, 0, -1, 3, -1, and 5, -1. So did the x values repeat here? No, they didn't. So because they did not repeat, this is a function. Yes, the relation is a function. Now, it doesn't matter. The y's can repeat all they want. All we need to look at are the x's to see if it's a function. So moving on to 37. 37, which relations are functions? So just what we just said, the x's cannot repeat. So I just look at the x values, and I see -1, 0, 1, and 2. None of them repeated, so yes, this is a function. Once again, this one right here, -1, 0, 1, and 2. None of them repeated, so this is a function. And if we look at choice C, all of them repeated, so this would not be a function. No, it's not a function. All right, number 38. The band is holding a car wash to raise money for its spring trip. For every car wash the band makes, $3. What is the range of this function for the first six cars? So right here we can do an XY table. And for the first car, they make $3. Second car, now they've got 6. Third car, 9. Fourth car, 12. Fifth car would be 15. And the sixth car would be $18. So, what is the range? Remember, range, we're looking for the y values. So that would be 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, and 18. Now, number 39. Number 39, to collect data for an experiment, Sense sets an instrument to record temperature every 5 minutes. Which chart reflects the data if the range, so remember range is the y value, is 12, 14, 20, 26, and 34. So here's your x and your y, minutes are the x's, and temperature would be your y's. Now let's look here, and the x values are the 12, 14, 20, and 26, and 34, but that's the x. We're looking for that to, we want that to be the range, the y. So that's a no. Now this one, B, we have those numbers for our y values. So that looks good. But now let's look here, and it says the temperature was taken every 5 minutes. If we look here at the minutes, it was taken every minute, not every 5 minutes. So this one is wrong. Now looking at choice C, we see that we've got the correct range. It's in the y's, and then our minutes, our x values are every 5 minutes. So C is the correct answer. Number 40, what is the domain for the function shown? Remember, domain are your x values. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to get rid of the y's. And then domain, we've got x here, and this is our y-axis. So right here, we're looking at only the x-axis, and we see that it goes from here to here. That's 0 to 50. So the answer to this one would be D.